Hello everyone! So let's get started on part 2 of the Vermont Fleece to Finished Objects. I don't even know what to call it. I mean it's only 2 videos, so video series doesn't seem right. Anyway, part 2. So I've pretty much finished spinning all of the Vermont yarn. If there's some still on the bobbins that I have to wind off and wash, but the majority of it's all ready to go. So I wanted to get the warps ready so that we can start weaving up all of these Vermont scarf things, Vermont scarf projects. I'm a little tired. I haven't quite settled into my brain yet today. So I went through my stash and I pulled a whole bunch of sock yarns. I still have a ton of sock yarns in my stash with superwash and nylon and all that, and while I am trying my best not to buy any more, I don't want to waste them either, so we're going to be using these up as best we can. Mostly for warps on scarves and shawls and blankets, because then they add a nice amount of strength to the finished object, and I do like that. So a lot of what I've pulled is skeins of the Wisdom Yarns Mini Saki. They're pretty soft, so they work well, and they're nice and strong too. They have some bamboo content. In most of the yarns we're going to be working with from the Romney have blue to them, or a gray brown. So I'll work on matching them up in a moment, but I also have this one here. This was a Shibui, I think. I know it has silk in it, I don't remember everything else that's in it. And then this is Merino Tencel. I got Merino Silk here. These two are leftover Stonehenge Fiber Mill Shepherd's Wool. These are sock yarns from Darn Good Yarns. I got them in one of my mystery boxes. I don't remember what this is. Some sort of tweed sock yarn. I know it has wool content, I just don't remember what else is in it. Anyway, these are all in the colors that I'm looking for this project, so I'm going to start matching them up to the finished Romney yarns, and we're going to get weaving. So I have 4 scarves done, and I think I'm gonna end the scarf making here, not because I don't want to make more, but because I need my loom for something else. That said, I'm definitely gonna come back to these yarns in the future, probably end of October, beginning of November, because that's when I'll have my other projects off the loom. Now I can show you the 4 that I've done. So this is the first one. And you can see the self-striping warp that I used, the sock yarn warp. You ended up with these cool stripes like that. And I did already trim the fringe on this one. So they're all about the same length. I have like sticky notes that I tape to the floor with measurements, and then I just line up the loom according to the sticky notes. So that's how I know how long to make them. I think it's about 6 feet long without the fringe, but I'll measure them properly later. So this one is the sock yarn warp, and then it's Romney from Poppy as the weft. And it's decently soft. I was a little worried about it, but it softened up a lot after washing, so that is something to keep in mind. So that one is done, and then this one is the Merino Tencel warp, and then I have a little bit of the leftover sock yarn from the last scarf as just a stripe down the side. And then the yarn used as the weft was the Romney Merino mohair blend that I spun during Tour de Fleece, and it came out really lovely. Both the Romney and the mohair too to some degree, and the Tencel add a lot of drape, so this one's really drapey. I already trimmed the fringe on this one. And they're all the same length. I used the same measurements for all of them. They should all be around 6 feet long, give or take a few inches. That's kind of my base length for scarves, because then it's long enough to wrap around your neck twice, usually, depending on the height of the person. All right, so the third one is where things went just a little bit awry. So you might remember from the pictures when I warped it, I did a stripe of silk. It was hot pink down the center of a light blue scarf. Now, if I had thought about this for more than 30 seconds, I would have remembered that silk always bleeds. So I finished weaving it, and I went to wash it, and the pink dye bled everywhere. So I could not leave it like that. It looked terrible. So instead, I dip dyed the whole scarf in Dharma Purple Pop. So it came out like this, which, you know, for some people, this might actually be better. So this one was the Merino Bamboo sock yarn as the weft, as the warp. And then we have more of the Romney Merino mohair for most of the warp, and then also stripes of hand spun BFL. So you can see all of that. And then the silk down the center. I think the silk stripe is here. It's a little hard to see now because everything's in a similar color range. But it did over dye pretty well. I'm still gonna be twisting the fringe on this one. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So yeah, it came out much different than I expected. It happens sometimes though. And it's better to over dye it and at least keep it as a usable scarf rather than have the yarns bleed and then just toss it out of frustration or something. So at least it's still usable now. Now the last scarf I made is my favorite because of the warp stripes. It's so fun. I love warp stripes like this. So for the warp, it's the leftover Stonehenge Fiber Mill shepherd's wool in, what is that color called? I think they called that gray pewter. And I think the green was grass green, but I might be wrong on that. So it's all that, and then it's the same the same Romney Merino mohair as the weft, but just changing the warp changes how it looks so much. And then at the beginning I did the BFL. It's like a border. Now this one I've already twisted the fringe on. I hate twisting fringe, it's annoying, but I did do it. And I will eventually do a video of start to finish how to do all this stuff, or if you want to make your own scarf, if you've never done it before, if you've just got a rigid Heddle loom and you're a little not sure how to start. I am not like a professional weaving teacher, but I have been doing this for about 2 years now, and I have at least enough experience to lend a little bit of advice. All right, so that is it for this batch of scarves, and as I said, we will come back to these yarns and do another batch really soon. For now, I have some more weaving videos to finish up. I have a couple things already on the looms that I need to finish. So I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.